Hey, welcome everyone. It's Heroscape here today, coming at you with an exciting sneak peek review of the items from GenCon 2025. Talking about the units in the Heroscape display, the new G.I. Joe figures as well. We got some cards to talk through, some exciting, just things about the designs that the designers and other Renegade members shared over the weekend. I'm going to cover with what I know and what I've heard. If there's something I missed or wasn't aware of, please in the comments share it so everybody can hear all the fun stuff on some of these designs. Just before I do that though, again, want to remind you that Heroscape is alive and well. If you want to help support the channel, in the description, my affiliate link can be used if you're already planning on purchasing the new waves or any of the waves of Heroscape. Please consider doing that as a way to support. So many of you have. It's been amazing. Really appreciate you guys. It's been awesome. And just one last thing before we get started, wanted to cover a couple notes from Alex Davey, actually, one of the lead designers of Renegade, or of Heroscape for Renegade. Had an opportunity to talk with him over the weekend, and I thought he shared some really cool things. So I was actually talking to Alex just about Heroscape designs in general and kind of the process and what that was looking like for, the Avalon Hill designs and the other designs going forward. And I had mentioned to him some of the inconsistencies that I was frustrated with, and many were frustrated with, namely the sizes and things. Like, for example, Imperator Kane is tiny. He's a large, he's not a huge. He's just tiny for a big old massive, expansion box. In addition to that, you had, had Q11, who's large, but he's massive, right? Like 2 times as big as Imperator Kane. And then you had the Pirate Dreadnoughts, who still technically aren't released yet, but they're mediums instead of larges when they really should have been and were promoted as like the same size as the Frost Claws. And so you had some just, designs in general that seemed really inconsistent and really wonky, like the Maladrix design, the Zenithrax design, that are just so bulky and really bad on maps. And I was talking to him about that and just kind of, the frustration of members of the community and just, again, the inconsistencies. And he shared with me some things that I thought were really, really interesting that I think nobody has known, and not, at least that I've heard of, and I hadn't heard of, is that he actually told me that the Avalon Hill designs were handed to them and the miniature molds were already done, completed, and basically shipped off. Now they, made some changes to cards, right? And the designs themselves of the cards, but the miniature molds, from what he was telling me, were already locked in. And so rather than trying to backtrack, restart, check quality assurance, and make updates to the miniatures themselves, and then try to, reprint those in time, it still took them a long time to do other things and get other things right. And he had said that they made the distinct decision to not change anything about the Avalon Hill miniatures and designs. Now, a lot of that had to do with timing. It did take them a while to actually get the product out to market, but they were also handed an entire project with very limited resources, and basically trying to fast track, a full-fledged master set, battle box, and wave to get this game kickstarted. And so they had to do a lot of front load work in a lot of time. And so just changing the molds, right, was something that they decided they weren't going to do. Namely because those molds were also already presented in the Avalon Hill campaign. During the campaign, we saw the molds, we saw the designs, and so they wanted to keep some level of consistency with what we were getting and what people were expecting to pay for. You change the molds, all of a sudden people get a little bit wonky about, well, do I really like them anymore? Or, man, I really liked what we saw. And because the reception was originally that everybody really liked what they saw. And so Alex mentioned that, and I thought that was really interesting because I hadn't heard that before. And so basically he said everything that we've seen up to this point, everything, all the miniature designs and inconsistencies, is because they distinctly chose not to change the miniature designs. Now, I'm inclined to believe them. I think it's possible that maybe there was some opportunity for them to maybe backtrack on a couple things, but rather than, again, check every miniature and see, hey, does Maladrix fit everywhere we want to go? Or, hey, does, what about, XYZ miniature or this? There's a lot of things that they could have done to try and fix the units, and and again, they decided not to, because, well, not that they decided not to fix the units. They decided not to review and check and verify that, Maladrix fit in every spot, or Xenothrax fit in every spot, or, anyway, I think you get the point. What I'm saying is that when talking to Alex, it actually was eye-opening, because a lot of the future designs and the designs made by Renegade now should fix those issues. Another issue that was noted was the bases. A lot of the warping in the bases were, again, because of Avalon Hill's the miniature designs, where attaching the full base and the material of the base. Now, that said, there are, Renegade designs like the Tanukis who have still those quote-unquote bad bases. One of mine came warped. And so I think they've, begun to correct that. And I believe 2026 should have all hard, I think it's ABS hard bases for all the miniature designs. And so that's really good. And they understand that, they're planning on fixing that, right? And so there's a number of things that they're still learning, they're still fixing, but again, the majority of the designs thus far have been released from the Avalon Hill campaign, and again, they inherited those designs, and we're still 2 years in getting those designs. So when we see, Imperator Kane come in a big old box, but he's tiny and he's not nearly as tall as Scavarith or Q11, but he's somehow huge, and he's just not huge, and he's tiny. Like, that's just one of the things that Renegade accepted when they took the project on, was they said, what, we're just not going to change or the miniatures, right? We're going to keep the miniatures the way they were set up, and somewhat I'm somewhat disappointed with that, because it would have been nice to have Imperator Kane actually be a massive, huge miniature, but he's not. And it would have been nice to see Q11 as either a smaller large figure, or stay his awesome height but be a huge. I mean, just again, most everything is great, but there's little things, right? And so I would have liked to see those changes happen, but that's beyond us at this point. And so I just wanted to share that, because I thought that was interesting, that not many people, I feel like, are talking about that or heard about that. I think that's awesome that he was willing to share that, and basically saying, like, what, they accepted that risk, that there would be some inconsistencies, some issues with the miniatures, but they needed to get the product out, and so they've done that. So anyway, the last thing is that they have also noted that some miniatures, Maladrix, have issues with placement and cause competitively a really difficult time for people. And so Alex also floated the idea of actually allowing mods to miniatures. Now, that opens up some floodgates of what's possible and what's going to be approved going forward. I think it'll be very limited, because they're going to be a lot more mindful of miniature designs that aren't going to be awful and not all over the map. And so really, it's just the two side legs on Maladrix that are the issue, and he's going to have to get approval and work hard to get the team on board. But according to Alex Davey, they're working on getting approved that you can mod Maladrix, essentially cut off those bad legs, either cut them off or boil them and then reposition them in so that she can fit in spaces that she normally wouldn't be able to. And so competitively, that's going to allow her to be played much more easily without all this issues. I mean, if you saw the championship game I posted, I mean, there was a period at one point, there was like 5 minutes of footage was just trying to figure out if Maladrix fit, and it's just annoying and just not how you want to play the game. So I thought that was cool too. So anyway, a couple little nuggets from Alex Davey. I'll share more as I remember or find out more. But again, for those of you that had conversations with designers or Renegade staff at GenCon, please in the comments let us know. Anyway, we have some sneak peeks to jump into, so let's do it.
All right, first up we have the Common Squad of Vipers. It is confirmed that these are going to be a speedy range squad. Their defense is still going to end up being 0, but now that they have range, it's going to be terrifying. But it's going to be fun because they're going to have a bonus in adjacent attacks. Or when I say bonus, it's going to be an ability. So you'll notice these like hypnosis type circles here on the sides. That's a representation of one of their abilities, hypnosis. That's essentially going to remove defense, I believe. They didn't confirm exactly what the ability was. But I believe that's what it is it's going to give them like a minimum of 1 defense or just no defense at all. I don't know if there's a size restriction. I would imagine it's probably going to be a small, medium size restriction on that. But yeah, they're going to be a fast range squad that's going to, be able to, in adjacency, remove defense, which I think is awesome, because then that's, do I sit back and shoot or run up and make you not lose defense? It is going to be a D20 roll, though, so it kind of depends on how high you have to roll for that ability. Not sure about that exactly yet, but, we'll find out soon enough. Also note that these guys are jacked. So I'm really hoping that they have at least an attack of 3. That said, a speedy range squad with an attack of 3 is really good. So I'm not sure if they'll end up being like a range 5 or range 6. If they're range 6 and attack 3, that's going to be really good. If they're range 5, I think attack 3 is fine. If they're range 6 or 7, you could get away with giving them an attack of 2, just because they'll usually have height, and keeping their distance is really good. But they're muscular here, so I'm kind of thinking maybe they do have an attack of 3. We'll see. I love the thematic different aspects of these guys, though. So first off, the fact that they're like a Cobra Viper is cool with the hypnosis ability. That's very thematic. And then there's 2 other things. Is basically you have these blasters that are stolen off of the Morrow Warriors. I think that is very thematic, considering the Vipers and the Morrows are, fighting each other in the Heroscape lore. And now, originally, I thought these were skulls on their belts as a way to like show their that they've taken some kills. But I just realized that these little balls are on the guns themselves, and so I was like, oh, this have to be ammo packs essentially, right? Whatever they use in the blaster, these have to be ammo packs, for the blaster rather than skulls. Though, I do kind of like the idea of them being skulls as well. So, anyway, that's what we know about the Vipers. All right, we have the Oolar Kiri squad. Now, the Oolar Kiri squad, I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure I found out anything about this. I think I had, but part of me thinks I might have forgotten. So there's obviously going to be some synergy with the Oolar Kiri, I think, with Ziamara being able to save them, obviously. I don't know if there's going to be bonding. If there is bonding, it would be the first time that we have Kiri bonding. Or rather a Kiri squad that bonds, though you'll see in a minute that we actually will see that with another squad. So it's very possible that in order to kind of balance the introduction of another bonding Kiri squad, we will have a squad here that bonds. This looks like a full female squad in the back here. We've got a blonde chick and she looks like she kind of has a crown on or some sort of headdress. And like a blonde bun or whatever. I'm not sure what the headdress represents, but a few different styles. I'm not sure that really has any significance other than the fact that they are just unique individuals. But there you have it. So pretty muscular. This chick's pretty muscular. So I'm not sure if that represents any type of. Well, obviously they're specialized warriors, right? They have these cool, blades, these double blades. So I don't know if that's going to signify a double attack or maybe just a strong attack of 3 or higher. But I think they look pretty decent. Personally, I think this is the coolest model. This one seems a little bit lame. Not going to lie. If I'm talking about designs on miniatures, this is a bit lackluster. It doesn't seem... I mean, she's in an attacking motion, which is good. It just doesn't seem super imposing. Maybe it's the bun. I don't know. Like personally, I think the hair up in the bun is a little bit doopy, kind of a weird look for a warrior. Not gonna lie, I would have liked to either see the hair in like some sort of cool like Viking braid or some sort of I don't know. I mean, mohawk's pretty dope. Like that's cool. But yeah, like, Valkyrie, Kiri, like that all comes from like, Norse legend lore, right? So the fact that we've got Kiri that are, like these weird, I don't know, hair in their buns. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's just a personal thing. I don't particularly like it. It looks kind of meh, but this chick is dope. So, you know, if I buy like 6 squads of these things, maybe maybe I'll just run all models of her. I don't know, but she looks pretty sweet. Unfortunately, don't know very much about them. That's probably one of the squads I know least about. So if there's anybody out there that knows more about this squad, please in the comments let us know, because I did get information from the designers and Lee and others about different squad abilities and whatnot, but I'm sure they divulged information to other people more than others, and that was kind of the fun of the weekend. You got to talk to them and figure out, what they knew. So, moving on. All right, now we've got the Orc Squad. This is Volorak's industrialized Gruts from the future. Basically talking to Lee, this is, Volorak looking to industrialize Hawkland. And so needs some grunt workers, and so she looked into the future of Grut and found some Gruts with a more industrialized look and information. And I mean, these dudes have straight up like dress shoes. I mean, these guys are ready to go to work, but they're also carrying like these chain axes. So I'm kind of thinking maybe they'll have an ability similar to Dorim. Dorim has a chain axe, and so the fact that these guys are chain axe wielding guys, I'm kind of thinking maybe it's going to be a similar ability where they get to reroll a dice that didn't show skulls, which actually would be incredibly powerful for this squad. These axes are pretty large. Lee alluded to the fact that these guys are going to be more like industrial workers and less warriors, so they may not be highly skilled in war, which means I could see them being like an attack of 2. 4-man squads are strong, and they do bond. So I have to imagine that they probably will be an attack of 2, but attack of 3 is totally warranted. Those axes are massive. If it's like a chain axe ability, that could absolutely be a really strong attack of 3. Attack of 2 still would even be good with a reroll. So we'll wait to see what happens there. Love that they've got a Grut on a dinosaur. I think that just on theme, and that's perfect. This is going to be a common hero. That's confirmed, and so you'll have a common hero with the common squad that you can get in the packs, which is going to be great. She also confirmed that this squad will bond with, I believe, Volorak champions. She didn't specifically say if it was going to be Volorak champions or Vorid specifically, but I think I believe the allusion was to Volorak champions, because you're going to have the hero be a champion, and that way that he can bond with the other Grut squads. I think that's just, that makes sense. Like, right, that wouldn't ever make sense not to allow this guy to bond with Grut squad. So he has to be a champion and a Grut to do that. And so I think their ability will be Volorak champion bonding, which won't allow them to bond with the other Grut heroes, but it will allow them to bond with the Vorid heroes, which I think would be really cool cross synergy and a lot of fun, because you have a 4-man bonding squad going with, Decker or Kane or, Nesbit. I mean, those are the 3 guys that are just kind of sitting off on their own without any synergy. And so that would be really, really cool, and that's been confirmed. So we're excited to see that show up next year. Yeah, don't know a ton about these guys other than they each have their own special abilities. They are a common hero. I don't know if they're coming. I'm not sure if they're coming in the pack with the common squad. We'll cover in just a second, but these are squared, so I kind of imagine they'll probably come in a common pack either by themselves, all 3 of them, or with the common squad. That remains to be seen. But this guy is like a Amber Hive burster. He has some sort of special burster ability. This guy is like a scythe wielder, a blade wielder, so he's going to have some sort of blade ability. And this guy's a blaster. He's got that kind of gun-looking thing on the back of his butt there. So how they synergize with the other squirters, I'm not sure. Being common heroes, I have to imagine there's probably some sort of bonding with the common squad that we're going to see here in just a second. So nothing confirmed other than their general abilities there. But, the common heroes aren't going to be very useful on their own, just trying to get, activations with order markers by themselves. So either they have internal synergy with each other, where you can put order markers on one, but take turns with, multiple, or they're going to have some sort of bonding. So we'll find out more on that in a bit. Now, this squad is a Scorder common squad, right? This matches the view of actually a few different units we have already. We have the Tyrax's Dragoon, we have the Pirate hero, and then we also have what's it called? The Acolyte of Revna. One of those with the forearms was confirmed as actually an Acolyte, a Scorder is not race. Yes. So that's what's actually pretty cool is they've already shown this species several times already in previous designs, and so now we're getting a common squad. I did not actually get any specifics on this common squad, though. I have to imagine this one might have some sort of multi-attack. Simply because, I mean, you've got forearms, right? I think representing some sort of multi-attack with forearms is really good. A good way to represent that's not just as good as double attack is doing something like dual strike, which is basically you can attack up to 2 times per figure, but they have to be different figures, right? So like this guy might be engaged with 2 figures and he can attack each one once, but he can't attack the same figure twice. So it's a good way to kind of balance multiple attacks with something like a common squad so that they can have effectiveness against a horde, but they can't just surround one target and then just murder that target. Now their armor is actually looking pretty freaking sweet. Not gonna lie, I really like how this guy looks. The two-handed, or rather four-handed blade wielding stance, and the armor just looks so cool. This guy, spear and blades, and this guy full blades. Honestly, they just look really, really good. So I kind of imagine this is going to be a pretty good bread and butter Scorder squad. My guess is probably highly mobile. So probably move 6. And then I could see them kind of being even kind of average stats, like a 3-3 squad. I don't know. Don't know about the abilities. So if someone knows, again, anything on these guys, please let me know. But I'm pretty excited. They look freaking sweet. Now, these guys, on the other hand, we don't know a ton about them, but we do know kind of the basics. So this is going to be an Isonek common squad, and it is going to come in a pack of 6. So you're going to get all 6 figures here, which are they are common squads. So a common squad of 3, but they also operate as a common hero. So for these guys over here on the left, when they don't have their arm on, they are a common squad figure. When they do have an arm on, that represents a common hero and a specific type of common hero. And so we have a few different types of common heroes. You've got a common hero with a massive arm, which is probably going to have some sort of grip or grapple ability. And then you've got a common hero with a gun, a blaster. And then you've got a common hero with, where is it? Oh, did I not get it in this? Oh, okay. I think the guy here on the far left here has it, but I just didn't get it in the picture. But that you can see here, the third one is like a chain arm. And so what's cool is that they are introducing modular miniatures for the first time in Heroscape. I mean, we've always been able to have the dragons without their wings and then put on their wings, and that has existed, but actual modular miniatures to represent different cards is new. I'm curious to see how it's implemented. I'm not sure, but it sounds cool, and the miniatures look amazing. So this is an Isonek common squad that actually follows Vidar. It does not follow Revna, and that was confirmed by Lee. So I'm not sure if there's going to be some cross synergies with Vidar, but the fact that it's an Isonek common squad means that there is some soft synergy with the Lich, which is kind of cool. I don't know if there's any bonding, but there might be. It wasn't confirmed, but again, if you can make a common hero out of just attaching an arm, again, I have to imagine there's some sort of synergy or ability to use that. Now, whether or not you can attach the arm mid-game, or like as a way to upgrade them, or like you quote unquote sacrifice a common figure and then turn it into a common hero, I'm not sure. It's possible that the modular changes are just for army building. So you say, hey, I want 5 common heroes, you put on the right arm, and then that's what you show up with your army cards. Or maybe it's actual in battle, they grow an arm and become a common hero, and now you can bond with one. I'm not sure. That wasn't confirmed, but I am really curious to see how that is introduced. So The miniatures look amazing. They do look Soulborgy, but they also, I mean, match the Iceneck theme. So I think they definitely have the theme for both. And I still love that you notice the light blue injection fluid. That is the consistent theme for the Icenex, which I think is just so cool. So even though the Lich isn't probably going to be the most useful with them because he only bonds with unique cards, they can still be injection markered, which I think is really cool. So even if you have that kind of cross synergy at play, it's still useful. So get excited for them. They look great. All right, we do have a confirmed common hero. This is Knucklevy. I don't know which pack he's coming with. It's probably, I believe he's following Revna, so it's probably going to follow the Kiri common squad that we'll cover in just a minute. That seems natural, right? Because the Kiri common squad is going to have bonding with Revna heroes or warriors, not sure exactly which, but Knucklevy, I believe, is confirmed to bond with them as an undead. And it's really cool that they're creating a miniature based off of, I think it's Scottish folklore or something, or Irish folklore. It's folklore. It's a folklore miniature, which is just nasty. I mean, this thing is gross and grotesque, and I love it. I love, like, dark, like, just nasty, Lovecraftian type horrors. I mean, this is great. I think this is great for Heroscape. So I don't know the abilities on this one other than I believe there is some sort of blood ability. The Kiri squad that we're going to cover in just a second has blood bonding, and so I think that plays into this guy. I'm not sure how exactly he gets a bonus, but I was talking to Alex Davey, the lead designer, and he was mentioning how there's some sort of cool interaction there. So excited to see this guy. All right, now here's, I think, an awesome common squad coming. I have some issues with it, but overall, really excited. So these three figures are not individual common heroes. These are actually a common squad. You'll notice that they do have the Revna symbol, or at least this guy does. I don't know if they're on these guys. I couldn't see on the face plates or on the chest plates, but actually, I think it's on his shield there. Not sure about this guy. He's probably got it somewhere, but this is a Revna common squad, and it's an undead Kiri squad. Couple issues I have with this, just thematically in the way it looks. My first inkling when I looked at these was not even remotely undead. They, in fact, even still, I'm just like, they don't look like undead. And so that's kind of like my just quick feedback, because I'm like, man, even if you get the painted versions of these, please go in, I don't know, put some like notches in their arms and like rip out flesh, or maybe like chop off a finger, or just like or if you don't want to modify the miniature, you don't have to do that, but like add a bunch of blood, make it look like these guys are like oozing and gory and like dead, right? Like they do not look dead. I mean, his teeth look a little bit funky, but there's nothing here on the miniature that is telling me this guy is an undead. Now this guy's wings are all, matted, or not matted, but, cut out. But like that doesn't alone tell me this guy's undead, right? That to me is indicating, okay, he's been injured in battle, he's war torn, sure, right? But that alone does not tell me undead. So I'm going to need convincing more in, rotting flesh on the arms, on the legs, like, I don't know, like half a helmet, right? I mean, the face falling out, something. Same thing with this guy. This guy looks completely normal. His skin, all their skin still matches their unique Kiri type, which I think is not, like, it doesn't help the theme, right? Like, undead, I think, would have been really good to give them, like, a gray tone, or like a dark, like rotting flesh look tone, so that we could recognize them as, hey, this guy's an Einar Kiri, hey, this guy was an Oolar Kiri, hey, this guy was a Jandar Kiri, but, have some unifying factors. Like there's nothing about these three miniatures that is telling me that they're all the same members of a common squad. And that's my issue, is I think there needed to be more universal theme of the miniatures tied in together to make me realize, hey, they're a unit, they work together, they're undead, okay, I'm sold, right? Still really cool, like the miniatures, love the theme. We'll talk about that in just a second, but overall the miniature design I think is flawed. You can't paint them all in their unique format or theme like this and expect us to assume that they're undead. Like I don't agree with that. So personally, I'm gonna get these painted miniatures and either have them repainted, by somebody, or I'll just add my own flecks of blood, or maybe, you know, add some notches out of their arms or legs or something just to make it look like rotting flesh. So up to you guys how you guys do that, but personally, I think I'm going to have that done. Now, in terms of their abilities, super excited about these guys. These guys will have a blood bonding type ability where they can take wounds on a hero and then take a turn with that hero. So that's really smart for units that already can heal through that type of ability. For example, Miserex, she kills something, she heals. So giving her a wound isn't a big deal. Now, Kilkorax, on the other hand, taking a wound, not the greatest because she can't heal. But if Miserex goes down, Miserex goes on Kilkorax's army card, and now Kilkorax can heal. So the fact that this army uses blood bonding, I think, is a really cool interaction. I'm excited about it. The fact that it bonds with Kiri, Revna Kiri, or just Revna warriors, not sure yet, is really exciting. I think that's exactly what Kilkorax and Miserex needed, and I think they're going to be really, really good as bonding heroes. Additionally, it was confirmed that these guys get a boost. I believe it's an attack bonus for wounds on their heroes. Now, whether that's cumulative, I don't know. I feel like that would probably be a little bit broken, but that wouldn't be unprecedented. You have the Murkdirk warriors who have +1 attack for every wound on their chosen champion, and they can get up to like 7 or 8 attack for a common squad of 4. So, I mean, again, the design space is there. So I could see them just doing the same ability, essentially, where they get +1 attack for every wound on their hero that they're bonding with. But, you know, it's also possible that they do a max where they say, you know, no more than 2 or no more than +3 attack, which is fine. I mean, if their attack is 2 or 3, that's still a really strong, you know, turn for attacks. And then it's kind of cool because if the bonding hero attacks and wounds and kills something, they can heal, and it makes them a little bit weaker, but the hero stays alive. So personally, I'm excited about that. I think Kilkorax is going to be a really, really strong bonder because of her ability to teleport in units and then gank them. So I say bring it on. Here we have the Kraken. This is a unique squad that is confirmed, and it is going to have a hero that helps either bond or activate it or summon it. I'm not exactly sure, but I love the implementation of the teleportation circles because Kraken's miniatures, I think in general, are always just such a problem for miniature games because while it's one of the coolest themes, implementing it just never makes any thematic sense because you're always like, well, I have to have it in an ocean or a river or a swamp or somewhere. And it's hard to thematically make that work in a combat game or in a specific battle game where you draft your armies and it's very, and sometimes you know, terrain based units are just completely worthless, right? So the fact that they said, hey, we're going to use a Kraken and we're going to allow it to have a teleportation style ability, I think is a great theme because then absolutely you can you know, have the theme for it being in water, but also on land. And so we've got another 5-man unique squad. I believe it was confirmed you won't be able to use all of them at once. I think it's kind of like the Vord Glide Strikers where you can summon only one per turn. And that does help it from being, you know, too strong. Now, these are massive, massive miniatures. I mean, just look at how big these things are. These things are so, so big. So I'm really hoping that the stat block is pretty decent because if you can only summon in one tentacle at a time, that's not going to make it very effective with one tentacle, right? And it's going to take 5 separate turns to bring them in. So I'm really hoping that the stat block for attack and defense and movement is good enough that, you know, one tentacle can be a solid, you know, worth a solid order marker. But that will likely depend on the hero that is going to go with it. I don't know if that's going to be like the Kraken head or a Kraken summoner, or it's just maybe this is a familiar type interaction where a Dryan hero can activate or summon these. So I'm not exactly sure about that. But you know, just the theme is just so cool. This eye is just crazy. He's teleporting his eye in so he can see. So I'm really excited. A 5-man unique squad or a 5-figure unique squad is going to be dope. All right, and now for the G.I. Joe stuff. The G.I. Joe stuff, honestly, I don't know anything about in terms of actual theme. What I mean by that is, you know, I don't really know any of these heroes. I mean, we will cover the heroes that have cards, but I don't know who these heroes are or what their abilities could end up being just because I'm not into G.I. Joe lore. but we do know that this is a common hero here in this kind of gyro, jet. And then this is a common squad of 4. And so we're going to get a common pack, uniques hero pack, a terrain pack, and then a battle box pack. So that is confirmed for the G.I. Joe in spring. More details obviously to follow, but that is what we're getting. So I don't know what to speculate on in terms of abilities, other than this has a flying ranged attack is what I would assume for this one, or maybe some sort of ability where it can carry or help transport people, which would be pretty cool. So yeah, we'll see. But I mean, obviously, common range squad for those guys. Again, more figures over here. You'll notice that what is showing up is we have this toxic water that is confirmed. It is water. I did not get confirmation whether or not it will act like the normal water or the swamp water. I'm really hoping it acts like swamp water so that we can move through it without it being a complete obstacle. But being toxic water, it's probably got some sort of D20 ability that deals damage to you. So expect that. But any type of new terrain is always exciting. It is, we notice here is that's concrete. So we are getting concrete and asphalt back as terrain types, which is great. So get excited about that. On the other side of the display, we got another common squad of 4, a range common squad, and then we got this gyrocopter dude. Now, the guy has a gun with him, so again, some sort of mobile range unit makes the most sense. And then we have a 4-man range common squad over here as well. So just the fact that we're getting 2 new common range common squads that are 4-man squads for the G.I. Joe set, I think is really intriguing. I'm really excited to see how those are implemented. I think 4-man common squads are always very good, and now that we've got 2 ranged common squads joining the ranks, I think, I'm really curious to see how well they do. Here's some of the heroes. I think these are the ones we do have cards for. I think this is Duke. This one's Snake Eyes. I don't know the names of the other people, but I believe these are the ones that we have cards for. And first off, the miniature Snake Eyes is just so cool. Oh man, they did such a good job. This looks amazing. I love this figure. It looks so dope. These other ones are fine, right? Like they're cool enough. Like, Duke, sure, like he's cool. These other guys look cool, but man, the stance, the action pose, the musculature, I mean, everything is just so dope on this guy. So well done on this one. Here's another shot of just the new terrain. We are getting 2 of these ruins. These ruins, I think, are going to be incredible for map making. They're complete line of sight blockers, which I think is super effective and really good for Heroscape map design. And they're generic enough that I think they'll look really good on maps in just about any type of terrain setting. They don't look like they have to be in a cityscape, right? They look like, metal plating that could be in any type of industrialized or even somewhat medieval type setting. It is a little bit more industrialized than what you would expect in like a castle type age, but I think it fits. Like it definitely works. It's not horrible. I do like it. We do have an ability or a unit here that I don't think we have a card for or any insight on. It's a Grenadier, it looks like. And then I think that's Cobra Commander. And I don't know who this is, but that's some sort of sniper unit. So that's pretty cool. We are getting new types of treasure glyphs, which I think is awesome. They're calling them tech glyphs, and we don't really have any information on the nanite shielding or the nanotech's coating. My assumption is for this nanotech's coating, it's probably going to be some sort of, it looks like some sort of grenade, but I can't tell how big it is, if it's supposed to be something, large or small, but, nanotech's coating, or sorry, nanotex, what am I saying? Nanotoxin, geez. Nanotoxin, so that implies to me some sort of maybe splash damage of like a grenade that deals toxic damage. Or maybe, you have to be next to toxic water to use it, and fill it up and throw it, not sure. But that's kind of what the theme I'm seeing is, you're seeing some sort of toxin come out and deal damage. Nanite shielding, I think that one's pretty straightforward. It's likely a treasure glyph that does some sort of additional shield or block, or like not super strong, but probably gives you a little bit of an edge when you're defending. And then the jump pack is just a really cool tech glyph. I love this. Basically a once per round flying, right? Does that make it super broken? Not necessarily, but small and medium figures that don't have the ability to move around the map, all of a sudden, once per round, can reposition with the flying power. Like, that's awesome. Like, that's really, really cool. So I'm excited to see what if these are the only 3 or if they have more, but just adding new types of treasure glyphs to the pool, I think is awesome. All right, now looking at the specific units themselves, we won't dive too much into detail in terms of theme, whether or not they matches the theme of the units themselves, because I'm not super familiar with the different G.I. Joe themes. So, like, his abilities, I don't know if they'll match or not, what would be expected, but we'll just cover generally how good they sound, right? You've got Dr. Mindbender, 5 move, 5 life, 5 range, 3 attack, 4 defense. Stat block for 70 points just is good. 70 points like that, that survivability, the range, that's all really good. For 70 points, he would make a great filler at the end of an army just for that. Now let's look at his abilities. A little suggestion: at the start of Dr. Mindbender's turn, you may move all friendly figures adjacent to Dr. Mindbender up to 3 spaces. First of all, that's just cool, right? I mean, you have to be taking a turn with him, sure, but I mean, in kind of soft synergy scenarios or any type of, weaker format armies, like, that's a really cool, fun little synergy. Mindbend 13, basically, at the end of his turn, you may choose an enemy unique figure within 3 spaces, so he has to be kind of close. Roll 13 or higher, and then you reveal the X, and then you can take temporary control of the army card. So it's actually better. Actually, it's much, much better than, Enslave or Mind Flayer Mastermind, just because those rolls are so high that it makes it really hard to get your points worth. Well, this one, I wouldn't say it guarantees, but it kind of guarantees you get to pull this off at least once per round, right? So it does limit it to only being able to pull it off once per round because you reveal the X order marker. But by so doing, it lowers the roll all the way down to 13. And so it makes it much more likely that you'll be able to do some silly shenanigans. But it keeps it balanced by only allowing it once per round. And additionally, you have to be within 3 spaces, right? So, you kind of have to be up in the front and rather than hanging back. So I think for 70 points, this is legit. Storm Shadow, stat block looks pretty solid, matches other ninjas, 4 life, 6 move, 4 attack, 3 defense. Like, that's just kind of your standard ninja build right there. For 100 points, already feels pretty good for attack output. 4 life, 3 defense goes down pretty quick though, so all it really takes is 1 or 2 attacks and this guy's out of here. But the attack output is really what's going to get you your money's worth, right? I mean, look at that Whirlwind Assault. I mean, this guy gets attack all adjacent figures, which can just end people with 4 base attack. If you position and time it right, I mean, this guy can go off. So yeah, he might die in a couple attacks, but if he's taking people with him and a good number of them, it could totally be worth it. Now, on top of that, his mobility being 6 move and Phantom Walk, I mean, he's getting anywhere he wants, right? So you can't really wall him off or keep him away. He's basically going to get to the spot he wants. And then Nanite Smoke Grenade is just a cool ability because, heck, why not? Start the game with 3 Shadow Tiles. It's basically just Mika Connor. But a little bit better, just because it doesn't really do anything in terms of, like, your assassination from a shadow and teleport between shadow like Mika does. Like, that's all cool. But this is just a fun utility unit. I mean, you get 3 shadow tiles, and then you get to place them within 3 clear sight spaces. So it doesn't have to be where you're standing. It can be anywhere. And so kind of like Iwashia dropping water, you can do some fun, silly things with dropping shadow because you add him into an army where +1 defense for a small, medium, or large figure can have a shadow tile on height somewhere is amazing. I think that's so cool. And yeah, and then if you want to do some fun, silly things with Mika Connor where you have both him and Mika in the same army, like, heck yeah, let's go. That'll be a lot of fun. So I love that these synergies or these units that are coming out for G.I. Joe definitely seem, at least initially, to fit good Heroscape design space. They seem like they're super balanced, but G.I. Joe on its own can be its own fun little thing. But I mean, you've got a lot of these fun cross synergies where he can drop shadow tiles for Mika. Like, that's so cool. Cobra Commander, You got 6 life, 5 move, 5 range, 3 attack, 3 defense for 110. That stat block's pretty solid again for those points. Cutlass of Cobra, he adds 1 automatic skill when attacking adjacent figures. Okay, that's just good, right? That's great. That basically ensures that you have a solid attack anytime you're in melee. Now, he has a range attack, so you don't have to be in melee, but, you know, if the option's there, or if someone finally engages you because you're kiting them, then your attack output gets even better. So, honestly, love it. That's great. I'll get you next time. After he receives 1 or more wounds from a normal attack but isn't destroyed, you may move him up to 2 spaces. He may not end his movement adjacent to enemy figures. While moving, he does not take any engagement attacks. Now, this is interesting because this is basically a Samu, but permanent. Or not permanent, but 100%, right? Like, he's limited to only being able to do it 5 times. So there is that, right? Like, Asamu could technically do it like 20 or infinitely, right? If he hits the D20 roll every time. But Cobra Commander, he can automatically do it, but he only gets to do it 5 times. So it makes it really difficult to tie him down and kill him, because as soon as he takes a wound, bloop, he just runs away, and now you can't keep attacking him. Or rather, you could from range, but you might not be able to, since, say you just got into range and now he moves out of range, or say it's melee, you engage him and now he runs away, you can't engage him anymore. So I really do like that ability. I think that's a lot of fun. There's going to be some fun utility. And check this out. Oops. We have Warlord. So heck yeah, for 110 points, you're going to get to have some fun shenanigans with Legionnaires bonding with him. So I am excited for, again, fun cross synergies that are just going to make these units just really fun to play, honestly. G.I. Joe Duke, 5 life, 5 move, 6 range, 4 attack, 3 defense for 140 points. We don't see his stats on the left, which is too bad, but I imagine he's just human soldier. I can't imagine there being too much else going on there. And so his stat block is super solid. Having 6 range and 4 attack is actually really, really good, because he's probably going to have height most of the game. And so having a attack of 5 most of the game is just going to make sure he's just blowing stuff up. And then on top of that, he's got, a commander type ability. Yo Joe, the first time each round you reveal a numbered order marker on the army card. Instead of taking a turn with Duke, you may take a turn with up to 2 G.I. Joe soldiers you control. Or, so actually, no, 2 G.I. Joe or soldier heroes you control. Duke can be one of those heroes. So that's really good, because it's not so powerful that it can happen at any point in the round. It's really just turn 1, right? First time you reveal a numbered order marker. Actually, so I guess I should correct that. It doesn't have to be turn 1. It could be turn 2, but it's just guaranteeing that it's only happening the first time that an order marker on him is shown. Because it could be turn 1 on some other unit and then turn 2 on him, and he still gets the bonus. So it's kind of a unique ability. It makes him not be just a straight up order marker hub, but it does give him definitely order markers every round because of that ability. Additionally, the soft synergy there, or I guess not soft synergy, the direct synergy is soldier heroes. So he can bond, quote unquote bond, he can synergize with Sergeant Drake Alexander and any other soldier heroes we have, which is awesome. And then you have Lead by Example. Lead by Example, while it has a revealed order marker, other G.I. Joe and soldier figures you control within 2 clear sight spaces add 1 to their attack. This is crazy. Because this is going to be just a silly, fun little pod with any soldier units. I mean, there's so many soldier units that you can just have some fun with. Honestly, you can have fun with the Legionnaires. You could have fun with the 10th Reg, the 4th Mass. I mean, there's just a lot of soldier units. And so, in fact, actually, like Warforged soldiers, I think. So you could use him as like a range component to pull the opponent in, and then Warforged soldiers get order markers, and then as long as they're kind of potting up, they get +1 attack. So first of all, it'll be the most useful for ranged squads, like the 4th Mass and 10th Reg, but also it's just going to be really good just with their own G.I. Joes, because the heroes, if they're soldiers, or, the common squads that we saw already, those are very likely soldiers. And so, that's going to be some really good synergy. Honestly, an attack bonus pod thing here is going to be really, really good. Snake Eyes, love this guy. Again, he meets the standard ninja build: 4 life, 6 move, 1 attack, 4 range, or 4 attack, 1 range, 4 attack, 3 defense. For 80 points, again, that stat block is legit. And then you add on to it everything else, it's freaking sweet. So Phantom Walk makes sense. He can get anywhere he wants. But then you pair these other abilities, and this is just chef's kiss. You have Assassinate 2. He adds 2 to his attack when he is attacking a figure he wasn't adjacent to. Or actually, sorry, let me reread that. Value to his attack value when attacking an enemy figure that is not adjacent to any other enemy figures. Oh, okay. So actually, I correct that. So he gets +2 as long as the figure's solo, right? It's if there's a bunch of units in the fray, he doesn't get the bonus. But if he kind of isolates a unit that's not engaged with any other opponents, he gets +2. So his attack becomes 6. That's just so good. And because he has Phantom Walk, he can run through an engagement or a screen and go attack stuff on the back line. Oh, and then guess what? Hey, I'll shoot him. He's only got 4 life, 3 defense. So I'll shoot him and kill him before he gets to me. Well, how about he gets +2 defense against non-adjacent figures? Even if he's engaged with an opponent, if you're still shooting at him, he's going to get 5 defense. So this guy is just going to be running up onto you faster than you can deal with, and then assassinating key heroes or squad figures. And I love it, and all for 80 points. So, well done. Love the design. And then we've got Scarlet. Scarlet's human operative. Again, super solid stat block. 5 life, 6 move, 5 range, 3 attack, 3 defense. This is just really good utility. Her mobility's high. She's got good range, good attack, and decent survivability. And then you add in all the abilities here. It is just bonkers, man. She is going to be exciting to play. At the start of the round, after you roll initiative, you can look at unrevealed order markers on one enemy army card. Then you may move one order marker from a G.I. Joe or Soldier Army card to another G.I. Joe or Soldier Army card. So again, you've got some cross synergy to back, to classic units. And just the fact that you can change order markers is always strong. So that's really, really cool. And then when she makes an attack, the target figure lowers its defense value by 1 for every refilled order marker on its army card. So you can use your knowledge from this ability to inform you of your attacks on this ability, because you'll know if a unit has a turn coming up and whether or not you want to attack it on one order marker or another order marker. And then if the unit is like a common squad where you're, or even a hero where you're putting all your order markers on, when she makes an attack, the target figure lowers its defense value by 1 for every revealed order marker on its army card. So yeah, sure, her attack is only 3. But man, if this person has 3 order markers on it, even if it's a common squad, they're rolling -3 defense. So you'll basically be insta-killing whatever it is. And if it's a hero, they're just going to be taking full damage. I mean, that is just silly. I mean, no, it's good. For 80 points, this is super solid. She's not like broken or OP, but my gosh, that's so good. And then, oh wait, I'm not done yet. Once per turn, after attacking, you may move Scarlet up to 2 spaces and make 1 normal attack against an adjacent figure. Oh, okay, so she has double attack now. So someone took a turn, especially like at the end of a round, someone took turn 3, and you're like, oh, well, you've got 3 revealed order markers on your hero. How about I shoot at it from height, so get 4 attack from range 5. Oh, wait, I've got 6 move. How about I run up and then perform another attack and go smack you a good one. Now, keep in mind, actually, correction, she can't be 5 or 6 spaces away. It does say once per turn after attacking, you may move Scarlet up to 2 spaces and make 1 normal attack against an adjacent figure. So she can already be in melee combat and essentially perform 2 attacks, or she can be, almost within melee combat, take a shot, and then get a melee attack. So it's not as good as being, 6 spaces away, shooting and then running up, but I mean, still, it's basically a double attack in melee. Which again at the end of the round is just gonna delete figures even with an attack of 3, simply because of this army or order marker ability. So super excited to see her on the battlefield. She's legit. And then last but not least, for the units that we got cards for, we have Roadblock. Stat block is disgusting. This dude is just statted. Now, notice he's a soldier, so there's some synergy there. 6 life, 4 move, 5 range, 4 attack, 4 defense. For 100 points, that stat block is amazing. Now, sure, he moves slow, but he has 5 range, so his threat range is still 9. So he's still going to be able to be super effective, and his attack is already base 4. So even if you have to attack up into someone, odds are still pretty good you're going to deal some damage. And then on top of that, he's got 6 life and 4 defense. So this dude is statted out of his mind. Oh, and then guess what? He has a machine gun special attack. Range 5 attack 3. Roadblock may attack up to 3 times. With his special attack, he cannot attack the same target more than once each turn. So again, not as good as like a Q9 because it has to be separate figures. But that's basically Q9 attack output, right? Range 5 attack 3. So you do have some options. You can take a ping shot from 5 away with 4 dice. You can just go up and whack something, right? Or you can sit back and just do a bunch of little machine gun attacks, which can be super useful too. So love the simplicity of the design. He's just a tank on the front line, a roadblock, if you will. With a few different options for how you play him, and I love it. I mean, this guy is dope. I actually completely forgot Agent Carr. Now, I don't know any of the abilities, if they were leaked or not, but just the fact that we're getting Agent Carr 2.0 is incredible. We are getting him riding Dund, which is just the best. Love the fact that this is a design and can't wait to see how it's implemented. Hopefully done well. He's got his sword. He doesn't have a gun anymore, so that's noticeable. So hopefully he's still got a big old fat attack with his sword. And whether or not Dund still has his ability, we'll see. I hope there was some implemented synergy though, because I just think, there needs to be, right? I mean, freaking Agent Carr riding Dund is so cool. I would love to be, running around with this unit on the battlefield, bonding with something, or at least having some sort of synergy where it was a relevant unit. Because Dund has been a sad little pup for a very long time, so he's looking for the limelight here. And cannot forget the ship. Here's a few pictures of the other side of the ship. You've seen some of the front pictures, and I'll show that in a second. Notice that you can attach terrain to this, so you're going to be able to build out basically really anything into this. You can leave it like this as just a standalone ruin pretty much on a map that you're building, or you can build out like an entire top deck and make it functionally a ship, right? You're going to be able to do a bunch of fun stuff. And additionally, it's coming with a destructible object, a cannon. So the fact that we're getting destructible objects is pretty freaking amazing, and the fact that they're cannons is awesome as well. It is confirmed that those are going to be in place of a unit's attack. The figure will be able to fire a cannon and perform a special attack. What that is, don't know, but it'll likely be some sort of grape shot ability or splash attack where it targets, multiple figures. In place of an attack, a unit will be able to activate the cannon and shoot it. But just the fact that we're getting terrain, and also Thericus. This is amazing. Like, that's so cool. Thericus on the freaking ship. How cool is that? But and ladders, rope ladders. So rope ladders are confirmed. This is going to be an easier way for moving up and down terrain. And the way that these work, will be able to take one movement to get from the bottom to the top of a rope ladder. And now, whether or not we're going to get more sizes of rope ladders, or if that's going to be the standard size, I don't know. I have to imagine they're going to allow for larger sizes of rope ladders, just as people want to build out larger terrain, maps. But that is awesome, because the normal ladders now are a pain in the butt and cause a lot of issues. So having a rope ladder to function for terrain, scaling terrain, is awesome. But anyway, back to what I was saying about just the different types of terrain. Having a cool, massive terrain expansion, but unique terrain expansion pack like this, it just opens so many design possibilities for cool maps and just fun map building. So huge win for Renegade for doing something so unique and so fun. I think this just really opens up the floodgates of what's possible in Heroscape and what they plan on doing, which is just cool terrain expansions, and I'm excited. Again, just real quick, confirming that the road set is coming out, and that's what it looks like. So there you go. And then the wall terrain pack, notice these corner pieces are going to be like a triangle corner piece, which will allow for some pretty unique army building. And then getting this fun, awesome arch. And then also notice that these are going to allow for stackable terrain, which is going to make some of the just real cool Heroscape maps. Doubling up on, these walls is going to make for really good line of sight blockers. And again, just some really, really cool maps. So really excited about this. And then last but not least, I almost forgot, Savaris 2.0. We are getting Savaris 2.0, which he looks so freaking cool. I have got to admit, the original Savaris looked cool. This guy, they did an incredible job of remaking him, but just the improved and better version. A couple things to note. We're getting some noticeable changes. He's got a vine arm. That is confirmed from Lee, that is a vine arm. Now, I don't know the implementation of that, if that means he was affected or attacked by Dryons, and that's just part of the lore. So maybe it's just a lore thing, kind of like Valgard, how Valgard has a monster arm. It's not implemented at all in Valgard's design, other than the miniature. So it's possible that this is more of a lore type thing. But, if it's implemented in some way, that would be kind of cool. Maybe it's some sort of special ability. Or maybe he has the ability to command familiars because of it. Maybe the Dryons gave him some sort of power. So that would be pretty cool. But the other noticeable thing is the triple arrow notched. I don't know what that means. It's possible it could be a triple attack, but typically that's not represented by 3 arrows in the notch, because that means you're shooting them all at the same time. So odds are pretty good you're not going to be able to do 3 separate different attacks. My assumption is it's either going to be one or 3 separate attacks on maybe the same target. So you can't target multiple figures, but you can target like maybe mini attacks of 2 or 3 on the same one. Or it will be a spread attack where you shoot 3 different arrows and it targets 3 different units. I'm not sure exactly the implementation of that. Again, it could also be to avoid from ridiculous theme where you shoot 3 different people 10 spaces away. So say you're shooting one guy 5 spaces to your left, one guy 5 spaces to your middle, and then one guy 5 spaces to your right. Functionally, that's the 2 figures are 10 spaces away, which doesn't make sense. So I'm also kind of thinking maybe it'll be like a triple attack, but kind of like a pseudo explosion, where you target one figure and then can choose up to 2 other figures adjacent to that one figure to be affected, and then you shoot all 3, and then thematically it makes sense that, it would be a tight, formation of targets, right, where the 3 arrows would target 3 figures within, one space of each other. So I kind of think that's the implementation of that, but the miniature is so slick, so clean. Really excited to see Savaris 2.0.